what is
Yeah.
AI? How does it differ from technology we're already using? And then where does ChatGPT come in?
Yeah, it's funny. There's this AI idea, which I think has become such a buzzword recently. And it's different for different people. In general, AI just refers to this field of, technology, computer science that tries to get machines to do the same things that humans can do. And it's got a lot of subfields. It's got robotics. So you can imagine like this big sort of machine walking around, that's AI. But you can also imagine something that tries to forecast how much sales you're going to have in the next year. And if you do it in a certain way, that's AI. And so it's sort of this word that means everything and nothing at the same time. But it really does refer to this idea of what we're trying to do to make machines smarter. And then in this AI field, you've got a bunch of subfields, one of which is called, let's say, generative AI. And that's the idea that you can use machines to make things, make art or music or science or language. And that's where ChatGPT falls. It falls in this world of generative AI, where you can use a machine to create, in the case of ChatGPT, smart sounding natural language. And eventually things like images and videos as well. We're getting there, but really ChatGPT is really good for producing things that are coherent, cogent, and just make sense from a written text perspective.
Let's talk about like natural real world applications. Images, interestingly, I have a much easier time wrapping my head around how this can be used. I was at a talk about a year ago with somebody who really dove into AI graphics. As that's what they do, then that's their whole business now. And it was interesting because they introduced us to one tool, a free tool that really didn't do a great job, but it really gave you the idea of what was possible. And I can say, hey, take a picture of Moshe Amzil and turn him into, the one of the Avengers. And it'll come back with, scour the internet for a picture of me and for what the Avengers look like, and then kind of like morph us together into one. And all of a sudden, I'm a Marvel comic. And the real world application for me is I don't need stock photos anymore for any of my marketing images, right? We can basically use AI imagery to do all of the images that we need for our blog posts, for our ads on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, all the things that we're doing that we're just kind of like, either buying images or using them. But I know that ChatGPT is a language model and it spits back text for you. So how in the business application, what's the biggest real world? I'm sure there's a lot of them, but what are the biggest real world applications you're seeing?
Right now, I would say that there's maybe 4 or 5 sort of what I'm calling killer applications today. And I think there's going to be a lot more in the future. But today, I think most people are using it for search as a replacement for Googling something. Now, what's interesting is ChatGPT actually doesn't know anything about facts. But it's like you said, it's a language model. And what it has done is it's been trained on the internet. And so it's got all of this information on it, on how it was trained. And it was trained on all of these pieces of text. And it's learned how people talk. And in doing so, it's been able to pick up the rules about how do you answer a question or how do you answer this particular thing. And so a lot of people are just using it now to say, hey, what's the recipe for X, Y, and Z? Or how do I write this particular piece of code? For example, where before you might have been going to Google and looking this stuff up, now you can ask ChatGPT, and the benefit is it'll usually come up with an answer for you that's straightforward and answers your question, and you don't have to go through a bunch of links. So I would say people are using it for text quite a bit, and then a lot of people are also using it. You mentioned sort of blogs and marketing content. A lot of people are using it to write their blogs and content. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to go, because when you see what it writes, it's still a little bit robotic and soulless, but it produces, content that's grammatically perfect. It produces content that makes sense. It flows linearly. Maybe it lacks a little bit of a personality. So depending on what you're going for, it could still be okay. So search is big. Content like blogs, marketing content, social media posts, that's big. And there's a world now where I'm playing in, which is sort of the world where you've got these virtual assistants or what's called an autonomous agent, where it can actually take a command from you and execute that command. So for example, I just saw a demo of somebody say, hey, go order me a Domino's pizza. And this bot automatically went to Domino's website, filled in the name, the address without any human intervention, clicked all the buttons it needed to, and then ordered a pizza. And so that's all powered by these language models. And the reason is because they're sort of intelligent enough where they can say, okay, this is the output that I need to produce that's going to get the user exactly what they need.